just an average guy who loves the outdoors. I love to hunt and I love to fish. Somewhere along the way I ended up with a video camera in my hand. So now I'm just cruising around checking out cool destinations. Sit back, put your feet up, and come on along. I'm Brian Whitetails, and this is where I've been. When it comes to big game hunting, few animals can equal white-tailed deer. And when we're talking whitetails, Northwestern Ontario is a place you're going to want to consider. Whitetails are abundant in Northwestern Ontario. They live in relatively untouched wilderness areas with ample cover and excellent forage. The result is a stable population and many very large animals. There are numerous outfitters providing a wealth of possibilities at very reasonable prices. Whether you prefer archery, black powder or rifle, guided or semi-guided, baited or not baited, agricultural areas, or an adventure into remote bush country, you're going to want to check out Northwestern Ontario. As videographer for Real Outdoors Ontario, I've spent the last couple years traveling around Northwestern Ontario shooting video. I don't always get the chance to hunt, but either way, I'm always a part of it. In doing so, I've had the opportunity to visit a variety of lodges and talk with a variety of hunters, providing some insight into what brings hunters to Northwestern Ontario in the first place.
One of the biggest things that draws people up to Northwestern Ontario, as well as anywhere else in Canada, is the quality of the size of the deer. That's one of the biggest things that our clients, after they shoot a deer, they're just amazed at the size of the deer.
You're talking 300-pound deer.
Yeah, until you've seen a 300-pound whitetail, obviously that's live weight, but it really does shock you, the size of the animal, and even handling the animal once you harvest it, getting loaded up on a four-wheeler or a trailer, it's a feat.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things, Brian, that people come up to Northwestern Ontario is a lack of hunting pressure. We have vast tracts of government land that you can hunt. There's a lot of operators like myself that lease a number of private properties, and within those private properties we have a lot of different styles of properties. We have thick bush properties, cutover areas, we have old homesteads, we have agricultural properties that we use, a little bit of everything, and not saying that at any one time one property is better than the other. Like right now we're during peak rut, and we're having field properties doing really well. We had bush properties today produce very well for us. One of the biggest reason people come up and hunt Northwestern Ontario is for not only the size of the animals, the body size, but also the antler size. There's a lot of mature deer that we're hunting, 3.5+ years old, and there's a lot of deer in the 140, 150, 160 plus class. Sure. Speaking with one of my guests today who ran into another guide in the area, that there was a 186 class deer that was shot a couple days ago, which is world class anywhere.
Can we go right now and wait in the stand? I'm ready.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of our guests that come from the Midwest, they do shoot personal bests when they're here. One of the problems that we seem to have is a lot of our clients shoot deer earlier in the week because it's, first of all, one of the biggest deer they've ever shot, and in antler size. A lot of our guests that come back year after year, they start off taking a personal best, which may be just a 130, 120 class deer, and then they know that they can hold off a little bit, and later on in the week they have a better chance at a 150, 160 class or better. One thing we're really noted for in our area is a number of mature bucks that we're offering for people to harvest. There's a lot of 3.5 to 7.5-year-old deers, deer that are older, some that are younger. We have a minimum, which is something that we really stand by, and a lot of other operators do, that it has to be 8 points outside the ears. And I think doing that, that's really got the people that really want to come up here and harvest a trophy animal.
Watch Real Outdoors as they travel to a new and exciting destination each week. Real hunting and real fishing in the real outdoors.
Watching out the front window at the two does over at the feeder, and I happened to look through the little round window over there, and right the other side of the hay bale there stood this beautiful buck. I could see at least 4 points on the side, so I let him come out, and he walked right over there, right across. He was out, I'll show you where I actually hit him. He was right out about there. And I saw he had 4 points plus brow tines, so based on the fact that it's been unseasonably hot and today was miserable with rain and sleet, I knew if he had brow tines and was a shooter, he wasn't going to live another day, so down he went. And then he busted off into the woods, and I was wondering whether I actually hit him, but I figured there's no way I could miss him, so I found him in the bush back there. So,
well, let's go find him, George.
Good.
Congratulations.
Thank you. He is a big-bodied deer. Nice, heavy set of horns.
It's a nice mature deer,
Yeah.
George. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Piled them right up.
Got a real heavy neck on him, and I mean that's a good heavy set of horns there.
Yeah,
He's a 10 with a little, like 11 out here with a little sticker out on the side. So
yeah, good job. Congratulations on your first Canadian whitetail, George, and we'll, hopefully it's one of many.
I'll be back.
Good, good. That's what we like to hear, right, Gord? Well, now we'll spin them around, get the back end. Yeah, we'll throw. Then okay, we need to get two guys on the back there. Grab one leg, George. That's on three. 1, 2, 3. Oh. Okay, let's get that.
During my travels, I had the chance to spend a couple of days with my good buddies Gord and Jason at South Shore Lodge on Eagle Lake.
Give me some gas, Bubbaloo.
I tagged along for a day while they were out scouting and setting up bait stations.
Sometimes finding a great game trail is really good because you know you've got activity and you've got animals using it. More exciting for us is finding activity of animals living in the area. So we look at seeing rubs, beds, activity where you can know that deer are actually living in the area, because there's game trails like this through the forest that go forever and ever and ever, but you want to be where they're living. So finding rubs, finding beds are as important as a nice game trail. There's fish sign here, it's clearly an awesome trail. This more than likely is a spring. This is not a creek coming out of a pond or a lake. Eagle Lake is actually prolific. It's all spring fed, tributary fed, and this, you can just see how that spring has cut this valley through here where the water is trickling down. These animals will key on that too. It's nice, fresh, cold water, and that's what they're gonna drink. What'd you find up there?
Some rubs right up at the top of the door.
Really? Yeah. And that,
From last year or so.
cool. What we're doing here is putting together deer baits. Very simple concept. Have a tube strapped to a tree full of corn. The corn spills out. You get a little bit of corn coming out every time a deer claws at it. Takes his little mouthful of whatever he's doing. This way we're not going into the baits every day, all the time. Less human contact, get them used to coming in for a food source without us having to go in for the food source. You can look online and just, you know, type into your search engine PVC deer bait, and you'll see all sorts of fancy schmancy clean out tubes, feeder hoppers, strapping system. Keep it simple. This will work. Put a little plastic bag over it to keep the rain from getting out of it. Keep it simple. When we do establish animals, we will come in here and of course clear out a shooting lane, make sure that the hunter's got an excellent opportunity at the animals coming to the area. In our shooting lane we picked out, there's a nice poplar tree right through here behind us. 25 yards away, it's a dynamite spot. We've got beds close by, we've got tracks close by. We're coming across a natural game trail. It's just I mean, it's your typical Northwestern Ontario deer hunting spot. We're not hunting fence lines and we're not hunting soybean fields and cornfields. This is hunting. This is in the woods hunting, and that's kind of what makes it so cool and a great hunt. You're in the natural environment of these animals, trying to outsmart them, outwit them, and maybe shoot a nice big buck. Let's go see if we can find a scrape or something.
Watch Real Outdoors as they travel to a new and exciting destination each week. Real hunting and real fishing in the real outdoors.
Little cocaine, deer cocaine. I always break it up so it goes in the ground faster. Gotta watch the eyes.
Keep in mind, it's amazing how every outfitter, every hunter's got their own tricks, their own things they do. This is not the best system. There's probably better ways to do it where you hunt. This is how we do it. It works for us. We have techniques. Is this the best way to hunt? No. Is there a best way to hunt? No.
One of many ways.
Yeah, absolutely. And they all may work. Some guys are probably looking at us going, what a bunch of morons. But you know what? This is what we do. This is how we do it. And do we shoot deer? We shoot deer. But we just want to stress that there's a million ways to do stuff. We hope that this helps somebody out, maybe gives them a neat idea or something like that. And that's what it's all about. And what it's really about for us is putting antlers in front of hunters, and it works. One of the neat things about hunting in such a remote area is that these deer are not time of day sensitive. We don't have issues with, oh, get there before daylight and them deer move for 2 hours, by 9 o'clock, go home for breakfast. We shoot deer at 11 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and that's major. It's huge to know your area and know that these deer are not trained to the human clock. You know, when you're allowed to hunt, when you're not allowed to hunt. You know, a lot of places you go hunting, as the day breaks and as the sun comes up, you glass around looking for deer and you see orange, 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 orange. Not the case. The only orange you see around us are the hunters in our camp. So it's kind of a really neat situation to retrain the hunter and say, you don't have to be there at 7 o'clock in the morning when shooting is at 7:30. Get there for 7:15, sit in your stand, because your deer are going to start to move well into the morning. So kind of a neat deal. Different situation that most hunters are used to.
Years and years of look at the deer coming in here.
So this is what you would call an established salt lick. I mean, you can park a four-wheeler in the pond that they've created. a game trail that's a highway, it's a freeway, all of it, I mean fresh, they're coming in here because that water in that mineral lake is
Salt water.
Yep. We're gonna actually set up a bait here real quick and get this thing established. Look at the size of this rub. So we're what, 40 yards?
40 yards.
40 yards from the bait.
Yeah.
And
that's a huge deer.
look at the size of that rub. That's what a hunter gets excited about. That's what, as a guide, we go, wow, the animal that takes a 3.5-inch circumference or diameter poplar and tears down 6 or 7 years of growth is a cool animal. I mean, it's an old rub.
It's an old rub, but what they say too is to judge the size is take the width of the tree, and that's kind of gives you an idea of the distance between the brow tine and the G1, because that's where they like to rub. So
that's a dandy. That's just. I mean, you know, as a guide or an outfitter, you walk through the bush and you set up baits, and every bait is a plausible monster of a deer. When you see something like that, you go, right on. Yeah. Has that deer been shot? No. You know why? Because there's nobody around us. We're in such a remote area. When we see activity like that, we're not going, oh, I wonder if the Johnson from, you know, down the road got that one, you know, if it skipped the property lines or if it was hunting along his fence line. Not gonna, this
deer is alive.
This deer's alive, it's here.
The only way he's not alive is if the wolves got him.
Or he died of age, because he's big. Cool. Let's go find something cool to look at. Let's go back to that moose rub.
Watch Real Outdoors as they travel to a new and exciting destination each week. Real hunting and real fishing in the real outdoors.
Here's some helpful information from the Canada Border Services Agency about transporting firearms across the border.
If entering Canada in the fall to hunt, there are regulations with the Canadian Firearms Centre that require us to register all long guns. Those visitors, hunters entering need to provide a CAFC 909 form, which is you can get either by calling our office or going onto the Canadian Firearms Centre website. The form itself lists both some personal information about the importer of the firearm, as well as make, model, and serial number of the hunting rifle or shotgun that you are importing. The process is to appear here at the port of entry. The officer will ask you if you do have a firearm. Declare the firearm properly. We may go out and verify serial numbers and make models off of the firearm. You will be brought into the office and we will complete the registration form for you. You'll sign it, and a background check may be done on you just to see if there is any public safety issues that we may want to consider. There is a $25 fee. That registration process is good for 60 days. The gun should be cased, stored separately from the ammunition. Visitors to Canada may import 200 rounds of ammunition, shotgun or rifle, duty and tax free. Compound bows and crossbows are not controlled in any way in Canada and may be imported without the need for filling out the CAFC 909 form, the non-resident firearms form.
I was sitting in the stand for 20 minutes at the most, and I heard a grunt. He came off of a jack pine ridge and walked right to me. I shot him at about 20 yards at the most. I got a 300 Winchester mag. He didn't go too far after the shot. 10-pointer, I would think he scores roughly 135. We set up a tree stand on the edge of a big ash swamp where it turned into a little bit of high ground, and that was the first time I sat in the stand. I ended up finding a pretty nice shed over there, and that was the main reason that I wanted to set up there, but the shed is bigger than this one.
This one was a pretty good hike back in the spot. Went in there right away in the morning, planned on sitting all day. He came through at, I think, 4:30, walked up the ridge, and I shot him a 30-06 at about 30 yards.
Yeah, normally we hunt in Wisconsin, and we were just kind of getting fed up with the hunting pressure and other people around. And up here it's definitely less people. This is our first year hunting in Canada. Not our last, that's for sure. Some big country up here, some really nice looking country. Lots of rocks and hills.
It was just about 2 days after the rut had started. I had scented the area, marked out the area. I had 3 areas with 2 larger bucks in it. It was approximately around 8:30 when the sun was coming up. A doe came down the side of the hill. Watched the doe, she passed through my shooting lane. It took about 30 minutes. I could see through the top of the pines. I seen a flicker, so I knew another one was coming down. Jumped out into my shooting lane, had 1 shot, took the shot. It dropped 50 yards away. This wasn't the originally buck I was hunting for. I was hunting for a buck with a drop tine. I seen one earlier in the season, had a drop tine approximately 4 to 6 inches. That's what I was looking for, but I was quite happy to end up with this one here. I would say this is an average size mature buck for the area. The bucks I seen earlier this year, I'd say there was 3 more bucks. I seen a total of 6. And there was 3 more bucks that had much larger tines, but they were on the move. Didn't get a shot at him. It was me and my son hunting. He picked himself out a 7-pointer. This is the very early part of November. It's usually around October 31st to November 4th. A little bit of swelling in the neck. So you know right now, from the first week of November to about November 8th or 9th, they're going to be heavy in their rut. Won't be paying much attention to anything. Still, it's hard to get a big buck. They won't come out. You got to be sitting in the area, either a tree stand or ground blind. You can use rattles. This is the time of year where rattling starts to help a lot. You'll pick up the rattle in Northwestern Ontario from approximately November 4th to November 8th. You can rattle them in. Scenting doesn't hurt, but I'm not big into the scents. Rattling, definitely. You'll find out that if you rattle, the areas where the rubs, just at the start of the rut, they'll start rubbing a lot more around the areas. As you can see, the base of this buck, it's covered with pine bark. The night I rattled, the morning I came in, I had 4 extra rubs. And obviously the one that do it was this, because you can see just the pine bark is just embedded in at the bottom of the antlers. But I know from being this early in rut that this wasn't the dominant deer in the area. There's at least 2 more dominant deer in the area. He just happened to be the first one down the hill. Hey, the most exciting thing about the hunt is I spent the time with my son, and I'm sure my daughter's going to go out and pick up a bigger deer like she usually does.
Attract deer at South Shore Lodge. Deer, deer. It's actually a deer call, not a deer baiter. Big buck, big buck, big buck, big buck, big buck. Big buck, big buck, big buck.